Hi, I'm Darren Butler. I'm proud to be a part of the United States Coaches Association. Well, my junior career started late in the aspects of how junior golfers are starting nowadays. Junior golfers I see are 3, 4, 5 years of age, all the way. Most of them are starting right around 8 to 10 years of age. I started at 13. I thought I was going to be a World Cup soccer player, running up and down the field, playing in all the traveling leagues all over the state of Ohio, and even outside Ohio to play in tournaments. One day, one of the teammates asked me to play golf, grabbed my mom's set of clubs after saying no to him for about 5 or 6 other times. Grabbed my mom's set of clubs, and he had been playing for 5 years, and decided, well, let's go do it finally. Went out, played golf with him. I beat him by 10, 11 shots and said, wait a second, this game is me against the golf course. I don't have to rely on other teammates, other things, and it really was something. It was me against the golf course. I was the one responsible for everything, whether bad or good, that happened to me. And I went home that night, told my father, hey, Dad, I think I want to try to make the golf team next year. He was ecstatic because he'd been trying to get me to play golf for years and years. And I'd been on the golf course with him a few times, but not really hitting golf balls. If I was hitting golf balls, it was all for fun and maybe a little joking around. Happy Gilmore wasn't out there at that time, but we did some stupid swings as well. But in general, I found a love for it because I was responsible. I didn't have to rely on teammates like team sports, but team sports are still important. That it requires some discipline and relying on other people. But it was something that really jumped out at me that I could do. Played every day that summer. My dad would drop me off in the morning. He would drop me off and pick me up when it was dark outside sometimes. I was still on the golf course with 3 holes to play in pitch black, still trying to get in as many holes as I could. He'd be the only car in the parking lot with the headlights on. And that next year, I made the 8th grade team. And then the following year, freshman, and my school was set up as freshman was out of high school. Our high school was set up 10 through 12. And my freshman, I was the second person ever to make the varsity team at the separate school, but still in the high school level. My high school career started as that freshman. I was the second person to ever make the team as a freshman. And in that time, I had a whole bunch of older mentors, the older players that were on that golf team that were really excellent golfers. In 1988, we were ranked #1 in the state for the entire season. And we beat every team, went into the district championships on our high horse. This was the year. And it was something great. It was four seniors and me as a freshman, and we also had 3 sophomores that were on the team, or juniors that were on the team that were really good golfers as well. So it was really tough. We all played off. We played against each other. And there was a camaraderie that was really nice to have. Now, we got to that district tournament, and we didn't make it. It was really cold. We missed it by a few shots. They suspended play after we had already been out on the golf course and the temperature rose. But those are things you can't control. So it was disheartening that we didn't make it. Turned around the next season with those juniors, now 4 juniors and me as a sophomore, and made it to the state championships with almost a completely different team. And we finished 8th that year. We had really good players. You were striving to better yourself and better them. So in the team event, as an individual golfer in Ohio athletics, it is very difficult to move on without a team. It's easier to get into the state championships as a team as opposed to getting in the state championships as an individual. What inspired me to become a PGA professional and just to carry on in the golf was a gentleman. His name is Don Schock. He was a head golf professional at Columbus Country Club. And the story that goes there is I played at public golf courses, Black Lake Woods Golf Course outside of in Roundsburg, Ohio, and that's where I grew up. And we just played golf. You showed up, you never made a tee time. You were paired with people if you were a single or a twosome, and my dad and I happened to be paired up with a twosome or with a single that day. And after the 18th hole, that gentleman handed my dad a business card, and on the back of the business card was a number with a name on it, and he said, call this gentleman, I'd like your son to get lessons. He has good potential in golf. Well, my dad hung on to the business card for a few days and then finally called him up and said, this gentleman mentioned your name. My son just started playing golf seriously. Would you be interested in giving golf lessons? Don said, well, let's get him out here. I've got time on Saturday. We'll see if it's worth your time or your money or my time to see if he will do anything in the golf business. And I showed up on Saturday. He said, Darren, why don't you go over there and hit a couple of golf shots? I hit about 3 or 4 golf balls. He walked over to my dad and said, hey, Bob, why don't you get in your car and come back in an hour? We'll see you in an hour. And I was scheduled a golf lesson every Saturday through that summer at that same time. And it continued for about 3 or 4 years after that. And I came to find out, because I ended up working there as a caddy, assistant starter, bag room help as well, that the gentleman that gave that golf or that business card to my dad, he was paying for half the golf lesson and we were paying for the other half. So those are the relationships also in golf that you don't hear about. A complete stranger out of the blue, and I still don't know his name, is the people that want to broaden and build these relationships and make you enjoy the sport as well. You see these people that you play golf with, and you might have never met them ever in your life, and you develop a little banter, a little talk, and you never know. You might be playing with them 2 weeks from then. Exchange phone calls. It is a business, contact relationship as well that you can't do in a football, pickup football game or even a pickup softball game. Usually you're playing with people you already know. And in golf, sometimes you can play with a complete stranger and develop a friendship and relationship. The education required to become a PGA professional, as opposed to other businesses. PGA and businesses always look for a college education. Education in that, my college education was primarily commercial art and advertising. The other aspect of my career is I wanted to be a cartoonist. So the humor and funny side of me comes out well, and on the golf course, some of those little things that happen in the business are out there. But on the business side, the PGA side, the education that's involved is there's work experience that's involved, and particularly you have to work under a Class A head golf professional, so someone that is a member of the PGA. That's number one thing that you have to do. There's a playability test involved. That's one of the first steps to start in the PGA. It has a 20% pass rate, and these are accomplished players that sometimes do not pass this test. And during this, after you've passed all these things, you go into the system, the golf professional training program, which they do have at universities now, but doing it under a Class A PGA professional, there's home work experience kits that you take home. What they give you, you will be doing in the field, whether it be running a cart fleet, some agronomy, learning turf grass management, certain things that spray chemicals and sprays on the golf course. You'll be learning some food and beverage management situations, margins for that, pro shop merchandise and inventory control, tournament operations, marketing and advertising. The gamut, it runs very wide. The program that the PGA has started since 1995, I believe it is, maybe 96, is very extensive, and you learn all aspects. The mentoring process of a PGA golf professional is that Class A golf professional is the key to your business and your future movement in the PGA golf, being a PGA golf professional. During all of this, you're learning everything that he has to know. Most assistants or apprentices are going to work under a golf professional for about 3 years. I had the fortunate opportunity of working under 2 golf professionals that were at the same golf course for over 30 years. So I had a vast amount of knowledge thrust at me over the, 8, 9, 10 years that I was with both of them. Also Don Schock, who I started taking lessons with, he was at the same golf course for 30 plus years as well. So my knowledge in the golf business is as much old school as it is the new teaching that they're doing now. That mentoring process couldn't be done without them. I learned from small things like keeping the carts clean, to running the tournaments and how to collect all the money, even the inventory, how much to bring in at the beginning of the year, how much to lose at the end of the year. All of that stuff wrapped up into a little ball that you learned every day. It wasn't just something that you learned in a 4-hour, 1-hour process of going to a school, but something that you did in an 8 to 10-hour workday, 7 days a week most times. And it is a difficult process. Working in a golf course, you have a 6-hour stretch, 6-hour window in northern Ohio, that the golf course is open with full time and really running full steam. And it's a great business to be in. The mentoring process never stops. I call these people, not daily, but weekly, monthly, find out something that I didn't know, or something that I just wanted a reassurance that I'm moving in the right direction. The mentoring process starts on the first level is through the national part of the PGA. They'll get in touch with our local section in Northern Ohio PGA and guide you along and tell you what positions are open, whether it's apprentice or an assistant, just starting in the business or going farther into business. I've been on interviews. It's just like an interview process. They ask you what you do, what you know, where your knowledge is, and where you want to be years from now. I've been on interviews where I was too qualified for the position that they had for me or that I was applying for, but they knew of a position at another golf course with another golf professional that could grow who I was and what I needed to be to end up where I am now as a head golf professional. The mentor that I ended up with and that really pretty much helped me along in the golf business and boosted me to the next level. He helped me monetarily, in general with my family. He was always looking out for me. And besides that, it was just he wanted to give all the knowledge that he had. When he left the golf course, it was as if he was still there through me. I would know all of his, whether it be moral, character, all those things that we try to do in our daily life. We try to do, lead by example in our business life as well. And the recognition that a mentor might receive from the PGA, Golf Professional of the Year, Golf Professional of the Year nationally or locally. They could be in the Hall of Fame for mentoring other golf professionals. The mentor that I has assistant golf professionals that have led on to head golf professional ranks. I believe there's 5 or 6 of us out there. Golf professional jobs don't come about every other year. These are positions that are usually held for 10, 15, 20 years. And he was at his facility for 33 years. So, and over time, as you start to develop these people, and they develop their own assistant ranks, and then they lead into head golf professional ranks, you get the same quality of service. We're bettering the PGA brand and that sort of thing. But for him, he would get these golf professionals, the ones that really had the drive, that wanted to be golf professionals, and not just kind of the really, really young ones. Not that he wouldn't accept them, but as a mentor that would get the apprentices into the system. The cream of the crop kind of came to him, and he reaped the rewards of a lot of good workers, a lot of good service, and great years in the golf business, and it's good for the golf course as well. What I'm doing today in junior development and mentoring, in a sense of the playing part of it, is individual golf lessons, and also camps, junior things like that. In my philosophy in the teaching part, and for these kids that are growing nowadays, I have students from the age of 4 to the age of 18 in the junior ranks. Some of my bests are the ones that really want to just have fun on the golf course. And I really stress a little bit of technical and a lot of fun. We do things that I believe that'll last forever. When it comes to being real strict, stringent, they're really young kids. They don't need that right away. Some are overdeveloped or can handle it, but there's very few and far between. And by the time I see them at 10, 11, 12, 13, they've already had so much that they really don't want to do it. That's I think, the trouble in the golf business in the junior ranks. So I try to make it as fun as possible. So they want to get out on that golf course every day. They want to be out there with their parents and their friends and develop the relationships that I believe are really important in the golf. My recommendations for parents that are starting the kids in golf is just to let them have fun. Remember, the canvas is pretty much blank. If you're playing golf and you're an accomplished player, kids are great mimickers. They will copy everything that you do. That is, without a doubt, the easiest thing you can do. If you're pretty good, they're going to be as good as well. If you don't have the right swing, sure, go develop them. Have them have a lesson or two during the course of the summer. It doesn't have to be every day. It's just a few times. Mix in a little bit of fun. Don't make them play from the back tees. Don't make them play even from the tees. Let them go from 100 yards out. Just hit the ball. The key part is make them feel happy when they get the ball in the air. When they squib it on the ground, oh, maybe next time. But really focus on fun. Character and sportsmanship in golf is based on a lot of etiquette that is developed over the time. Etiquette can be taught by people that you've played golf with, by your parents. Most of the etiquette is in the rules of golf, the USGA rules of golf, where to stand, how to stand, what you can do in a hazard, what you can't do in a hazard. And the best part about the game of golf compared to other, you call the penalties on yourself. Even when you're by yourself or out on the golf course. If you double hit it and you're the only one that knows you double hit it, you're responsible for that. So that creates a great part of character. During teaching, daily or weekly with some of the students or people that I'm mentoring, I teach them how to have fun mostly, but we do go over some of the rules, some of the things that they might do. I always have an interview process with every lesson. Might last 5 minutes, could last 10 minutes of the lesson. What did you do last week? How many rounds of golf did you do? Are there anything that that came up over that round of golf that we need to talk about? Any rules? Any those things? So always emphasizing that. And then with the really young ones, just trying to get them to realize, don't drag your feet on the green. Just little certain things that might help in general of the game of golf. As my students move on, or the people that I mentor move on, the thing that I would like them to remember the most is just to have fun. Fun in business, fun in golf. The things that I do teach is so that they can move on and learn and teach themselves through the teachings that I've given them. The best part of it is I know that things that I'm implying haven't changed over all these years and all the things that are going on in the golf business from day one when we started to now. Not very much of it has changed. And the key part is that they can pretty much hang up their sticks for 5 years, 10 years, whatever's going on in their life, pick it back up, and they'll probably shoot right around the same that they did.